Before I press this button, just know one thing. Rafa Esparza is good at a lot of stuff. Really good. Spends a lot of time plugging this stuff away. I did not change the theme song. And here's why. Because it's extra work and I just didn't do it yet. I will in the future, but for now, enjoy something that says PGF Court, even though it's Bullpen Court. You know the difference.
It should just be, the only edit should be just the word bullpen as all the...
Swear to God, Kev, I was going to do it live.
Boxing is real. The participants are not actors. They are not skilled enough to be actors. They are actual hosts litigating on behalf of the athletes and the audience of the PGF at an undisclosed underground court in Las Vegas. Both parties have agreed to dismiss the internet and settle their disputes here at Bullpen Court.
There we go. Okay. Should the next CJI, aka CJI dose, heard it here first, include super teams? What is a super team? Meaning people who are basically bought into one giant conglomerate team, or a regular team or affiliation that you are used to seeing. Tim, time will begin on the clock for you.
My argument is absolutely not. You should not have super teams. They're not real teams. We're in a building phase in jiu-jitsu. We need to pump up the actual athletes and the actual teams that these athletes belong to. And when you have a super team, it diverts attention away from the actual team. Teams like 10th Planet, teams like ATT, teams like Atos Jiu-Jitsu, Art of Jiu-Jitsu. Listen, nobody follows a super team. Neither of you guys can tell me who was on the 1997 MLB All-Star team. Nobody watches the Pro Bowl. You know why? They're super teams. Nobody cares. They take focus off the real team and they put it on the fake team. The only thing I want to see a jiu-jitsu super team do is sing We Are the World. I want to see Danaher running the monitors. I want to see Gordon with half a can up singing because he's got cauliflower on the other side. I want to see Gary Tonin on the keyboards. That's what I want to see. Outside of that, super teams don't belong in jiu-jitsu. They divert the attention away from the individuals and the actual teams.
For that. All right, Kevin, I'm coming to you now.
Yeah, I'm arguing in favor of super teams. I don't see why in a sport filled with, and I say this lovingly, as one of you creantes, we need to put that much emphasis on the teams. The significance is on the athletes. It's on the individual performance. It's on how well they do individually, not team-based. If you start doing super teams, you start cutting out small gyms, people that are championing, one good guy came out of there beating the odds, but he doesn't have anybody around him. He doesn't have other people. He's just still with his guys, right? As far as viewership, of course you want to have super teams. If you look at all the Marvel movies, everyone has seen the Avengers. Who the hell is out there watching like the third Ant-Man or whatever, right? Like the individuals don't matter. It's when they all come together that we tune in. You get to access all of that talent. Why wouldn't you leverage as much entertainment as possible? Who gives a shit what they call it, right? Avengers versus Justice League versus I don't know. I never watched the Aquaman movies. Let them in.
Okay. I wasn't sure. That sentence was hanging off of 4 different modifiers. So it took me a second to figure out, wait, is that done? Oh, period.
I got about 20 seconds after I made my point. I realized I was still talking and I just...
Thank you for that. All right.
It happens when you think.
Kevin, you now have 1 minute of cross-examination time.
Cross-examination?
Do you remember how this works?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had them mixed up, but yeah, go for it. Cool. I thought
he was going to use that time to write his questions while I was cross-examining him.
All right. Timothy, if you will. You referred to these teams as not real teams. When you assemble them together, they're not real teams. That implies that there aren't actual bonds between these athletes. Tim, do you have friends from other affiliations?
Yes.
So would you say that the bonds you have with those friends, could you give me a name of somebody, a friend of another affiliation?
Rafa Esparza.
Right. Would you say that the bond between you and Raf is just as real regardless of affiliation?
Yes.
That was a very hesitant yes. Makes me feel like you don't actually like Raph, which I feel like is going to hurt your
Your Honor,
case.
can I object to that? Because that's totally
Nope,
I'm
it's
still,
on
still
record now.
Still my time. Very hesitant yes. I just, you mentioned that super teams divert attention, but I feel like we are something of a super team, and we have done anything but divert. We do well together. This is a super team. You would take that away from us? Time.
You're out of time, dog.
We just have to assume he would have said, yeah, I would take that away from you. Because that is his argument.
Noted. All right. Tim, you now have 1 minute of rebuttal time. The time begins.
Kevinette. Okay. If you were in a band, would you want to make split it 5 ways, or would you want to split it like less than 5 ways?
Could you clarify it?
The money. The reward.
Which money? The reward? Do you know how bands work?
Okay, let's
assume they call
it. Do you watch the All-Star game?
Which All-Star game?
Any sport.
Yeah, I watched the NBA's All-Star game.
Okay,
when I used to watch the NBA, I watched the All-Star game.
Okay, so you don't watch them.
I don't watch basketball.
If you had the chance to be on a team, would you rather be on a team with athletes from another affiliation, or would you rather be on a team with your would you rather be on 10th Planet Atlanta or ATT?
I'm confused. What was the question?
Oh, come on now. He's being willfully ignorant.
No, I'm not. I was saying it started as what basketball team would you rather, and then it became which of these two real affiliates. Neither of those is a super team. Both of those are real teams.
What I'm saying is, would you rather compete on a super team with people you don't know, or on a team with your homies from ATT?
A winning team. So, both.
Okay, so it just depends on who's winning.
All right, I'm done.
We are the super team. That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to hold you in contempt if you keep talking. Tim, you have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Okay, listen, peoples of the court. I will admit that I'm a little bit rusty. It has been a little bit of time, and my experience with this court is that it's testy and it's temperamental. It could be all 4 seasons in one day. But having said that, I have high respect for this court, and there needs to be accountability in jiu-jitsu, and this is one way we bring it. Super teams are like super bands. Nobody fucking listens. Nobody cares. Nobody pays attention more than one time. It's a popularity contest. It's an Instagram contest. If we want to build the athletes, we should build them as individuals or build up the actual teams and affiliations that they compete on. Outside of that, there's nothing stopping some big organization from throwing a bunch of money at guys and coming in and winning the best each time. You're basically going to have the New York Yankees of grappling. And let me tell you this, nobody, not even Dodger fans, nobody likes the Yankees. So my argument to you guys today is no super teams.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, Tim's mentioned the band comparison, but when bands go on tour and they want a high turnout, they want to put on a good show, they go on tour with other bands. They don't do a solo act. They bring other bands with them to leverage their combined talents, their combined pull to bring in fans of all of them, something we could do with grappling. When you talk about teams you would like to be on, the Dream Team, which was a conglomeration of opponents from various places who all came together with their very real bonds to compete together for something bigger. Like $1 million sounds like a big thing, right? When you're talking about like, oh yeah, if we do this, then we'll have the New York Yankees of, grappling. That's got an emotional pull for people already. They're like, oh yeah, like I don't even watch baseball. And I'm like, yeah, man, I don't like the Yankees. Right? But it gets you going. It engages viewers, right? If you have the New York Yankees, you're still going to have people who dislike or like teams based on how they were formed, who they think get screwed over. It just adds another layer of complexity to the game. I think it has a lot of merit. Thank you, Your Honor. Also, I would like to also note that in my closing statements, I didn't actually attack the fairness and legitimacy of this court. Just saying, like certain
what
other
would be the
people.
fairness and legitimacy
I'm
of
just
the court? that you're.
I just noticed that was how Tim opened his closing statement, was with talking about his experiences this court being negative. I haven't had that. I thought I think the court's great.
That is noted for the record. All right, gentlemen, my rendering is as follows. First of all, I want to go ahead and bring up the idea that, yes, it was concerning that neither of you knew how to define this from the very beginning. That probably should have been the telltale sign that this is not going to go well. Number two, this was something I was very much looking forward to clipping and showing off to our friends who have been involved in CJI. I don't know that that's happening. Three, I want to say it started well for Tim when he was trying to say there's no such things as super teams that are appealing to him, and making the Pro Bowl associations here got me thinking, okay, maybe it's going to get a little muddled bringing in other sports. And then Kevin said, hold my beer. I've got some stuff for you guys. Now, granted, the best thing that Kevin did was argue about the Avengers coming together, because that in itself is pretty telling on why people like super teams. Nobody did go see Ant-Man 3, and that was a huge problem for a lot of people. Granted, kind of trash, but not the worst thing I've ever seen, but still not good. Let's be very clear about that. And then something happened. First of all, Kevin couldn't remember how to cross-examine. Kevin, you now have 1 minute of cross-examination time.
Cross-examination?
Do you remember how this works?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he was going to cross-examine me.
Everybody shut up here. The way it works is Tim goes first. You go. Then you do cross-examination because you just win.
Yeah, I thought he was going to cross-examine me. It's fine, though. We're all good. It's good.
Arguing with me as if I've changed things. As if I've come up with new things. Just to be like, Raph, you're not going to let him question me now? No, the point is you get to go. You just spoke. Oh, okay. Because isn't that how we've done it? But no, it's not how we've done it before. Okay, well, I thought for a good experiment in 2025, we would be progressive with our views. And then did something on Tim that was irreparable, which was, hey, what would you consider Raph? As a teammate? And Tim struggled with that answer.
Could you give me a name of somebody, a friend of another affiliation?
Raph Esparza.
Right. Would you say that the bond between you and Raph is just as real regardless of affiliation?
Yes.
That was a very hesitant yes. Makes me feel like you don't actually like Raph, which I feel like is going to hurt your
Your Honor, can I object to that? Because that's totally...
I'm still
on record now. And I thought, oh, is that what we are now? I'm nothing to you. And I swear to God, from that point on, I said, I think this is done. I'm prepared for a lot here. And it's like, do you consider Raph a friend that you would have on a team? And the space in your voice between the ellipsis and the next sentence was so staggeringly loud. In theory, it should have been a mistrial, but because Tim screwed up so phonetically that it made all of us gleefully happen to watch. Kevin Sherrill, you do win this one by the ultimate defaults of defaults. Congratulations to you.
The whole time I was doing my closing statement, I was like, do I really have to do this or are we done? That was a brutal one.
I'm a misunderstood genius lawyer, and it's hard because people don't get me. You know what I mean? Like,